I arrived for Christmas, but Mom said, "Sorry, I think you have the wrong house." Shocked, I left. Minutes later, my brother called. "Don't be mad," he said, "but you know we couldn't let you in." I replied, "Understood." He forgot to hang up. He still thinks helping with rent means he's automatically included, I heard someone say in the background. I canceled the rent payments, blocked the cards, and by morning I had 61 missed calls. I stood trembling at the door, my breath condensing in the icy air, my fingers numb even inside my gloves. I knocked once, then rang the bell. Christmas lights twinkled from the windows. Laughter spilled out like warm honey, muffled but unmistakable. My mother's shadow stirred behind the glass, and a second later the door swung wide open. "Sorry, I think you have the wrong house," she said, her voice soft, her face calm. I blinked. "Mom, what are you talking about?" Her expression didn't change. "I'm sorry, I don't recognize you." "Are you serious? It's me." The door closed with a click, not a slam, just a firm, final shut. I stood there, the cold biting through my coat, the pain sinking somewhere deeper. For a moment, I thought it was a joke, some cruel, twisted prank. But then I heard it, the muffled laughter, the clink of glasses, the warmth of family joy bleeding through the walls. I stumbled back, turned to leave, but my phone buzzed in my pocket. My brother's name glowed on the screen. I answered, my voice tight. "Don't be mad," he began, his tone a mix of pity and irritation, "but you know we couldn't let you in." "What?" I whispered, still staring at the lit windows, my vision blurring. "You know how things are. It's complicated. Please don't make a scene." "A scene?" My voice cracked. I heard someone's muffled voice in the background. "He still thinks helping with rent means he's automatically included." Silence. Cold, crushing silence. I hung up without another word. My breath came in short, angry bursts, fogging the frigid air. I stood by my car, staring at the house I'd helped save last year when Dad was behind on the mortgage, the house where I'd covered utilities, groceries, even Christmas gifts when Mom's budget was tight. And they shut me out. Not just shut me out, they acted like I didn't exist. My hands were steady as I unlocked my phone. I tapped the banking app, my thumb hovering for just a second before I began. First, the automatic rent transfer, canceled. Then the joint account where I sent money for emergencies, gone. The secondary card I'd given my brother for gas, blocked. Each click felt like a door slamming shut. I didn't feel a shred of guilt, just a cold, clear sense of finality. By the time I drove away, my phone was buzzing like a heartbeat, the screen lighting up with call after call. Mom, Dad, my brother, even my aunt, probably thinking I was overreacting. But I didn't answer, I didn't even look. By morning, I had 61 missed calls and I felt nothing. I hadn't always been the outsider. For most of my life, I was the kid who fixed things, the one who stepped in during a crisis. When Dad's job was restructured 3 years ago, it was my paycheck that kept the house from foreclosure. When Mom's emergency dental surgery came up, it was my car they used. My brother, Adam, fresh out of college, was always finding his way, but I never complained. That's what family does, right? You help, and I was good at helping. I got a steady job right after college, climbed the ladder fast. They called it luck. I called it skipping nights out, eating instant noodles, and living in a tiny apartment for years. But none of that mattered because whenever they needed something, I was the one they called. "Jacob's, honey, we're a little behind on the electric bill. Can you help?" "Adam, going through a rough time. Could you spot him for gas?" "Sweetheart, your dad been so stressed. Could you help with the mortgage just for a bit?" A bit turned into months, then years. I became the silent, invisible safety net until they needed me. I still remember the first time it felt strange. Last Thanksgiving, I'd covered the entire dinner, the roast, the pies, even the expensive bottle of wine Dad insisted on. But when it came time for the family photo, they pushed me aside. "Come on, Jake," Mom said, waving me back. "We just want the family." I laughed it off, a small stab, a misunderstanding, that's all. But the little things started piling up. Adam got a brand new SUV for his birthday, a gift from our parents. When I asked why I never got anything close to that, Mom laughed. "Oh, Jake, you never needed anything. You're so independent." Independent, the polite word for alone. I tried to tell myself it didn't matter. I was the older brother, the reliable one. But then came the whispers, the little jokes that twisted like a knife. He thinks paying a few bills makes him part of the family. Always throwing money around, but what else does he have? The worst was Mom, always there with a smile and a quiet, calculated cruelty. "You know, Adam has such a bright future. I wish you could be a little more supportive of him." Supportive. I paid off his student loans, covered his rent when he quit his job to find himself, even co-signed his credit card because he needed to build credit. And when I tried to pull back, when I mentioned how tight my own finances were getting, Mom's voice would drop, soft and disappointed. "Family is about sacrifice, Jacob. We've always been there for you." There for me, I thought of my 27th birthday, the one they all forgot. I thought of the hospital bill I paid when Dad slipped on the icy porch, how they didn't even tell me he was better until 2 weeks later. I thought of the time I canceled a trip with friends because Adam called, crying about needing rent money again. But that Christmas night, standing in the cold, staring at the door they'd shut in my face, something shifted. I wasn't their son, I was their sponsor. I remembered how last summer I paid for the roof repairs because the house was practically falling apart. I remembered slipping a $500 check into Mom's purse just to help. I remembered Adam's face at his birthday party, the one I paid for, beaming as Mom hugged him and said, "We're so proud of you." Proud of what? His ability to live off me. He still thinks helping with rent means he's automatically included. I sat in my small apartment, the flickering lights of my barely decorated Christmas tree mocking me. My phone kept buzzing with their messages. "Mom, Jacob, please answer. It's Christmas." "Adam, bro, stop being dramatic. Let's talk." "Dad, you know your mother's upset. Call her." But the words ever changed. No apology, no acknowledgement, just demands as always. I lay back, staring at the ceiling. How many years, how many times had I been the silent lifeline, the quiet sponsor of their perfect family? The next morning, I called the bank. I canceled the automatic transfers. My name was removed from the joint account I'd set up for emergencies. Mom's credit card, the one I'd co-signed, gone. Adam's gas card, the one he used for job interview travel, blocked. Then I called the landlord who managed their rental house. A simple, quiet call. "Yes, I'm calling to update the account. The rent will no longer be paid from my account." No note, no explanation, just a cold, clean cut. I made coffee, watched the snow pile up outside. My phone kept buzzing, missed calls stacking up, but I didn't answer. I didn't even look. And for the first time in years, I felt something warm beneath the cold, not guilt, not regret, but freedom. It took less than 24 hours for the explosion. The first call I answered was from Mom, her voice already sharpened to a frantic edge. "Jacob, what did you do? The rent, not paid. The cards aren't working." "Did I?" I interrupted, my voice calm, almost bored. "You can't do this," she screamed. "Your brother needs that card for gas. We need you to cover the rent. Your father is." "I don't care," I said. Silence. For the first time, she had nothing to say. I could almost picture her standing there, her mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. "Jacob," she whispered, panic giving way to something colder, "you're being incredibly selfish." "Selfish?" I laughed, the sound sharp enough to sting. "Was I selfish when I paid your electric bill last month? When I covered Dad's prescription because his insurance would? Was I selfish when I paid for Adam's entire graduation trip?" "That was a gift," she snapped, the warmth gone, replaced with icy accusation. "A gift is something you give freely, not something you demand. You know how hard it is for your brother. Not everyone's as comfortable as you." "Comfortable?" I laughed again, louder this time. "Is that what you call working 60 hours a week while he plays video games, watching you shower him with praise for his potential, while I'm just a walking ATM?" "You need to calm down," she snapped, her words clipped and sharp. "Then sacrifice something," I shouted, the words spilling out before I could stop them. "Sacrifice that you bought Dad. Sacrifice those vacations you keep posting about. Sacrifice Adam's struggle and tell him to get a job." There was a hiss on the other end, a sharp inhale. "I don't even recognize you, Jacob. You're being cruel." "No, Mom, I'm being clear." I let the silence hang for a second, then hung up. The next call came from Adam, his voice quieter but just as venomous. "Bro, what's wrong with you? Mom's crying. Dad's freaking out. You just cut us off." "Yeah, I did, brothers. You can't do that. We're family." "No, we're not. Not anymore." "You're serious?" His voice froze, the fake shock barely masking the fury. "All this over some money?" "You mean the money I've spent paying your rent, your credit card, your stupid streaming subscriptions? Or maybe the money I used to keep the lights on at Mom and Dad's because they were too busy pretending to be upscale to pay their bills?" "You're a..." "No, I'm awake. I finally see it. You think I'm just the guy you call when the world's falling apart, but I'm not anymore." "You're being dramatic," he spat, but I heard it, the fear beneath the anger. "You're really going to ruin Christmas over this." "Christmas?" I laughed again. Was I even invited to Christmas, or was I just expected to pay for it? "I can't believe you." "You don't have to," I ended it. Then came the group text, the nuclear option. "Mom, family meeting now. Everyone come to the house." I thought about ignoring it, staying in my warm, quiet apartment, letting them scream into the void. But a dark, cold fury pulsed in my veins, so I grabbed my coat, locked my door, and drove. The house was lit up like a postcard, warm light spilling from the windows, a wreath on the door twisted with fake holly and gold ribbon. I walked in without knocking. They were all there. Mom, her face streaked with tears. Dad, packing by the fireplace, his fist clenched. Adam, slumped on the couch, phone glowing in his hands. Finally, Mom cried, rushing toward me. Jacob, this has gone too far. We're family. You don't just turn your back on each other. You did. The room froze. I saw the shock in their eyes, the way Dad's packing stopped, the way even Adam looked up, his mouth falling open. You did, I said, the moment you shut that door in my face, the moment you excluded me, laughed at me behind my back, decided I was nothing more than a wallet to you. That's not true, Mom gasped. Isn't it? I stepped forward, the heat in my chest burning through the cold. I was here when you needed rent, when you needed the roof fixed, when Dad needed his car repaired. But Christmas, I was nothing, not even a knock at the door, just excluded. Jacob, you don't understand, Dad began, his voice low, almost pleading. Then explain it. I looked at Mom, then at Adam. No one spoke. Exactly. I turned to leave. Wait, Mom's voice was sharp, desperate. You can't leave, we're family. Family means sacrifice, I cut in, then start sacrificing because I'm done. Adam jumped up, his face red. Oh, so what? You're going to take your money and run. Go cry in your fancy apartment while we suffer. Suffer? I laughed in his face. You're 24 years old and still living off your parents. You're not suffering, you're leeching. Enough, Dad's voice roared. Jacob, we can fix this. Just come back, help like you always do. No, Mom's face twisted, her voice breaking. Jacob, please, we're your family, we love you. I looked at them, Dad's stunned silence, Adam's twisted scowl. I felt nothing but a cold, clear certainty. Love, I whispered. You love my money, me, I was just convenient. And then I turned, walked out the door, and left them standing in the glow of their perfect, warm house. The cold bit my face, but it felt like freedom. My phone buzzed, and I let it ring. I let it ring until the screen went dark, and the road stretched ahead, clear and quiet. My phone was a storm, calls, texts, voicemail after voicemail, a relentless flood, but I didn't answer, I didn't even look. Mom's messages shifted from pleading to guilt-tripping in days. Jacob, please, we're your family. How could you do this to us? Your father's sick from the stress. Is that what you wanted? Adam was less dramatic, but no less angry. Seriously, you just abandoned us. You ruined everything. Do you even get what you've done? The real chaos started 3 days later when they showed up at my door. Mom's face was streaked, her eyes red and swollen. Dad loomed behind her, stiff and grim, hands buried deep in his coat pockets. We need to talk, Mom demanded, pushing forward, but I blocked the doorway. No, we don't. What do you mean we do? Dad's voice was low, but the threat simmered. You've turned our lives upside down. You canceled cards, stopped rent payments. Are you insane? I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, insane for finally saying no. This isn't just about you, Jacob, Mom's voice cracked, tears coming instantly. We're your family. Your father's health is at stake. That's your fault, I said, my voice steady. It's always been your fault. Listen to yourself, Dad snapped, stepping forward. You're throwing a tantrum over a misunderstanding. This is your home, your family. You excluded me, I shot back. I showed up for Christmas and you shut the door in my face. I paid your rent, your utilities, kept this family afloat, and you treated me like an outsider. Jacob, you're being dramatic, Mom whispered, but her voice trembled. Am I? I leaned in, cold fury burning beneath my calm. What did I get in return? Insults behind my back, a brother who thinks I'm just a wallet, parents who smile when they need something and turn away the second I'm not useful. That's not true, Mom's voice faltered, but I saw the flash of guilt. Oh, it's true. I pulled out my phone, scrolled through messages until I found the one I'd recorded, the one I'd overheard through the door that night. I hit play, and Adam's voice crackled to life. He still thinks helping with rent means he's automatically included. Silence, Mom's face drained of color. Dad's jaw tightened, his eyes flicking to Adam. I didn't mean it like that, Adam stammered, stepping forward. Come on, Jake, you know I was just being honest, I cut in, saying what you all think. That's not fair, Mom whispered, tears streaming now. We love you. You love what I can do for you. Dad's calm shattered, his voice a low growl. Enough of this. You're acting like a spoiled child. You think you're better than us because you have some money. No, I think I deserve respect, but I'll settle for peace. Peace, Dad laughed, a desperate, hollow sound. Cutting off your family isn't peace, it's cruelty. Cruelty? My voice rose, and for the first time I didn't hold back. Cruelty is using someone over and over, making them feel like they owe you just for existing. Cruelty is laughing at me, calling me a fool for caring. Jacob, Mom's voice was a broken whisper. We didn't know you felt this way. Because you never asked, I said, stepping back, starting to close the door. And now you can feel what I felt, alone. Wait, Mom lunged forward, but I shut the door in her face. I stood there, breathing hard, their muffled sobs barely reaching me through the wood. For a second, a sick twist of guilt churned in my chest. But then I remembered the laughter through the door, the whispered insults, the constant feeling of being useful but never wanted. I put my phone on silent, walked to my kitchen, made coffee, and sat by the window. The snow was falling again, slow and silent, the kind of silence I hadn't felt in years. They kept knocking for another 10 minutes. I didn't move, didn't even look. An hour later, the buzzing started again. More calls, more messages. I didn't answer, didn't even check. By morning, I had over 80 missed calls, but all I felt was a strange, warm calm. For the first time, I wasn't drowning. I was free. I woke to silence, not the anxious, heavy silence of waiting for something bad, but a calm, clean quiet. No missed calls, no desperate texts, just soft light spilling through the blinds. Peace. Weeks passed and I started to embrace that emptiness. At first it was unsettling, the absence of chaos, but day by day it felt like breathing fresh air after being trapped underwater. I worked without interruptions, cooked meals for myself, took long walks without checking my phone. But the world didn't stay unchanged. Heard your parents lost the house, Linda, my neighbor, whispered one morning by the mailbox, her voice a mix of curiosity and pity. Your mom's blaming your dad and your brother, working at the grocery store now. I nodded, yeah, that's how it goes. What happened? She pressed, eyes wide. I left, I said, smiling, turning back to my apartment. At home, I found an old family album tucked in the back of my closet. I hadn't touched it in years. I flipped through the pages, smiling faces, summer picnics, birthday cakes. There I was, young, grinning, oblivious to what the future held. My phone buzzed on the counter, a new message from Mom. We lost everything. Your father says it's my fault. Adam won't talk to me. Please, Jacob, we were wrong. I'm sorry. Come home. I stared at it, my thumb hovering over the screen. Then I tapped delete. I didn't feel anger, didn't feel guilt, just a silent, powerful freedom. I put the album back on the top shelf where it would gather dust. It was part of my life, but only a part. Stepping outside, the crisp air filled my lungs. The sky stretched open, bright and endless. And for the first time in years, I smiled, not because someone needed me, but because I didn't need them.